The first poem I'm going to read is by Archibald MacLeish, and it was published in the New York Times on July 21st, 1969. Voyage to the Moon. Presence among us, wanderer in the skies, dazzle of silver in our leaves and on our waters silver. Oh, silver evasion in our farthest thought, the visiting moon, the glimpses of the moon, and we have touched you. From the first of time, before the first of time, before the first men tasted time, we thought of you. You were a wonder to us, unattainable, a longing past the reach of longing, a light beyond our light, our lives, perhaps a meaning to us. Now our hands have touched you in your depth of night. 3 days and 3 nights we journeyed, steered by farthest stars, climbed outward, crossed the invisible tide rip where the floating dust falls one way or the other in the void between, followed that other down, encountered cold, faced death, unfathomable emptiness. Now the 4th day evening we descend, make fast, set foot at last upon your beaches, sift between our fingers your cold sand. We stand here in the sand, the cold, the silence, and here, as at the first of time, we lift our heads. Over us, more beautiful than the moon, a wonder to us, unattainable, a longing past the reach of longing, a light beyond our light, our lives, perhaps a meaning to us. Oh, a meaning. Over us, on these silent beaches, the bright earth, presence among us. This next one is by Alex Dimitrov, written in 2018, and it's called 1969. The summer everyone left for the moon, even those yet to be born. And the dead who can't vacation here but met us all there by the veil between the worlds. The #1 song in America was In the Year 2525, because who has ever lived in the present when there's so much of the future to continue without us? How the best lover won't need to forgive you and surely take everything off your hands without having to ask, without knowing your name, no matter the number of times you married or didn't, your favorite midnight movie, the cigarettes you couldn't give up, wanting to kiss other people you shouldn't, and now to be forever kissed by the earth, in the earth, with the earth. When we all briefly left it to look back on each other from above, shocked by how bright even our pain is, running wildly beside us like an underground river. And whatever language is good for, a sign, a message left up there that reads, here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind, then returned to continue the war. This poem is so weird and lovely. I'm so happy to read it to you. It mystifies me. This is by Tom Slay from his book Spacewalk, and it's called A Hammer. Red wings cling to cattails while a hammer hammering nails rings an octave higher at each thwack, thwack, the overtones decaying deliciously slowly. And in that decay, day presses down on nothing, though the tide spews up old tires, gleaming, suppository treasures, plastic smooth to an abalone shine. I'm useless as a hammer found floating in the brine, seeming weightless on the sand, as if it were that hammer left floating on the moon by a long-dead astronaut. Its lunar existence absently posthumous. It hovers in the ice age night and crematory day. Its weightlessness would make it nauseous if it weren't dumb steel expanding, contracting, forever subject to laws it cannot know, it doesn't feel. It exists in a desert so absolute, no molecule of rust can taint its shining. I see your hand reach out to it, but it keeps floating away. The steel shank and phallic head drift in the cushioning void, dreaming of a nail penetrating a lover's flesh. The only other thing moving over the moon's pitted face is a long-forgotten flag, feeding its stripes into the void. When the moon finally wakes and breaks Earth's orbit, it will be younger than the Earth. It will take up the hammer and kiss it on the mouth. Y'all tell me. I just love it though. So that was 3 in crown, so I got 4 more. These ones are mine, and I'm gonna start with one for Alan Shepard. I'm from New Hampshire. Alan Shepard's from New Hampshire, first American in space on Freedom 7. And there's some nice Al Shepard trivia in this poem as well. And this was, I tried to pick poems. I have a lot of poems inspired by the space program. I tried to really pick ones that were attempting to think about the humanity of being in space. This is called On Instruments. He trained to trust the machine, or really to integrate the machine of his body with the steel of whatever jet he was testing or landing at night on a carrier, the one incomplete without the other, pilot and vessel, a careening team peeling the air from the air. He learned to fly on instruments, one of which was his gut, a collection of sensory inputs not quite mappable onto a circuit board. And yet, the doctors could pinpoint the glitch in his ear that threw him from time to time into a nauseating pitch and yaw, a vertigo spin, his own body failing a key shakedown flight, grounded on the brink of Gemini. Years later, he got the surgery, passed muster, all his instruments aligned again within and across the threshold of skin, trustworthy, if still a little mysterious. Back in rotation, he brought golf balls and a club to the moon, the oldest person ever to walk there, and the tallest, and the only of those original 7 to make it there, whose pressure-suited body sent a one-handed sand trap shot miles and miles and miles. Buzz Aldrin might be my favorite astronaut. I go back and forth. And he had this great nickname, Dr. Rendezvous. And he also did this thing on the moon that maybe you've heard about. And if not, you're about to hear about it. This is called Dr. Rendezvous Takes Communion on the Moon. Later, the fire of re-entry. Later, depression medicated by drinking. Later, sobriety, therapy, the final wrestling free from the prison of a hard father's surveilling regard. Later still, past 70, a left hook to lay flat out a moon hoax conspiracy theorist who called him a liar, a coward. Instead of test pilot school, he chose the doctoral dissertation on rendezvous techniques for manned orbiting vehicles, earning the nickname, 1 part admiration, 1 part the cocksure bully's jab at any egghead. But when he solved the unsolvable problem of Gemini's required spacewalk, not with brute force or test pilot bravado, but with a scientist's cold, slow methodology, he found a place in that uneasy brotherhood. After the landing, before the one small step, he pulled from his pocket the tiny chalice, the vial, the slender wafer, spoke reverent words about the vine and the fruit, drank and ate the blessed sacrament. Where most others could only see 2 hopelessly separate and reeling vessels, he knew enough of both math and mystery, of both faith and reason, to work out a slender algorithmic prayer, to guide them into alignment, to devise the rendezvous required. This poem begins with an epigraph from Wallace Stegner. We simply need that wild country available to us, even if we never do more than drive to its edge and look in. That wild country. I drove to the edge of the world I knew and past it, through weird lava fields and along stark buttes, into the high desert in whose epic geology I wasn't even a mote. I stopped at another edge, a shore, a broad basin, across which winter splayed a shallow lake whose water was pushed around as if on a china plate by unchecked winds. I thought of the men who'd walked on the moon, propelled there by Cold War audacity and slide rules and repurposed rockets. They too had driven to the edge, looked into that wild country, hardly a millimeter out onto the doorstep of everything they understood as home. Of course, from that frontier, they famously looked back, each one of them on the record as realizing Earth was what they'd really come to see, the full, fragile blue and swirling white round of it rising from behind the lunar horizon. On Earth, 50 years since the last of them left boot prints in the moon dust, I walked the mown path along the temporary lake. A million voles seethed beneath my feet, scrawling their black tunnels. Like those astronauts, I looked back from just inside the wild, back past the crossed edge. Did I really know about that world either? What old frontier